What's up YouTube? My name's Quickie, welcome back to the channel. I'm just shoving the 1200 Bandit swing arm in the 600 Bandit. You saw me in the last one, remaking these little top out spaces. I made some out of alley, so this shoulder's a little bit deeper because there was like 2.2 mil wiggle room. So I made it an extra 1.1, having cleaned all the muck off and measured it again, that's what it needed. I'm just shoving it in and checking fitment, but I haven't tightened anything up, but it all seems to be in and happy. Yeah, I think we're going to be all right there. I need to obviously tighten everything down. It needs to have a damn good clean first, but it looks like the swing arm is going to work. It's in. Still need to check out the brakes. We still need to get the rear wheel on, get everything lined up, measure it, blah, 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 which is kind of what I'm doing today. And this is purely mocking it up. This isn't, it's all finished, built and everything else. Because those top out spaces is alley. They're not steel. These ones are steel. And they made them out of steel for a reason. So I do have some round bar coming. When it gets here, I'll just, if everything is fine, I'll measure them up and I'll make some steel ones. It won't take long. But I think we is in. It really could do with a bloody good clean, couldn't it? Oh yeah, I'm trying out my little fluffy thing on my microphone. Not because it's windy in here, because I'm indoors. But I'm hoping it's going to stop all the grinding dust getting down the microphone hole. Right, so he's in. Actually, I'll throw some nuts on these. Just because otherwise I'll lose the nuts. And then we can get the back wheel in and see how things is lining up there. Right, so just made up some axle plates to go in here. Swing arm didn't come with any, but I've just shoved a hole. It's got 1/2 mil clearance on it. So hopefully that will fit in there, which it does. Same thing there. Axle will go through. And the bloody axle's not deep enough. Right, that's annoying. That's very annoying. Oh, hang on, that's the pin for up to... Oh, you goon. These are the same size. I've shoved the axle up there. Where's me wrench? I am an idiot. It's official. I've got the axle. This pin, that's the rear axle off the 600, which is the same as the swing arm pin. But I didn't realise I had the Bandit 1200 one for this. I just hadn't got it out of the packet yet. So hopefully it goes in there and fits. Sweet. Right, so we can get a nut on there. I can adjust that forward and back, which means we can get the back wheel in and get all this lined up. Right, let's shove the nut on so I don't lose it, and we'll have a look at the back wheel. Right, so that's the 1200 rim and the sprocket carrier. And all the cush drive rubbers. Which actually don't look that bad. It's obviously going to get new ones when I build the bike, but for now that'll do. So, a few differences. The sprocket is different on the 1200. The one on the 600, where is it? Yeah, the one on the 600 is 48 tooth. This one is a 45 tooth. I have got another one coming, just so it's the same size as the 600 one, because the gearing was all right on that. I don't know what's supposed to go on the 1200 as standard. Could be 45, I don't really know. but these bearings are lunched. That one doesn't even go round properly. And they are filthy. Absolutely filthy. So all this needs damn good clean up, obviously. I'm not too worried about the sprocket to start off with, because I ain't going to be setting chain tensions or anything else. I just want to get everything lined up and working. The disc is, I believe, the same. We'll have the disc off the other wheels, offer it up to this and see if it fits. But it's a 5-hole pattern. It just depends on the, the diameter of the hole through the middle and the spacing of these studs. I'm going to need to get new bolts. They're on their way, but for mock-up we'll just use the old ones. So let's have the disc off the old wheel, or at least measure it. Right. Right, Allen key. Is it that one? Yes. You see, I knew that was going to be a thing. Right. Oh, that one was easy. Well, these weren't thread locked, were they? They're barely done up. The other part of this week, because I've got there's some stuff I need to go. I'm getting my second jab tomorrow, so that's at 9 o'clock, and I've also got some other stuff I need to do in work. Still haven't heard about the job, although things is progressing, it would seem, because the job has been took down off the internal notice board. So I'm not sure if that's a good sign or a bad sign. I haven't had a call going, sorry you weren't successful. But I went for the interview like just over a week ago, and last week I was in work. We were the only line that was working. All the rest of the factory shut down. Just for, it's like annual maintenance and all that sort of stuff. So HR went in, Neil the boss, he wasn't in. So I've not been able to get any feedback at all as to how I did, and if I'm in with a shout or any of that lot. They're all back again this week. However, I'm off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, and back in again on Friday. So if they're waiting to have a face-to-face to give me some good news, I'm going to have to wait for it. But I've got to go in tomorrow anyway, just to finish up this test and whatnot. So I'm hoping it ain't going to be that long before I actually hear, because I'd love to get that job. I really, really would. That would just be mega. That would be getting paid to get better at doing stuff in here, basically. So that'd be all right, wouldn't it? Right, are you going to fit? Yes. Cool. So we can check everything's going to line up. These are only going in for mock-up. They are going to get replaced. I never reuse disc bolts. It just isn't worth it. I believe the manual tells you to replace them with new anyway. Certainly has done on other bikes that I've had. So we're in. Can't reuse the sprocket, but that one will be fine. It's going to be less teeth, so the chain ain't exactly going to be tensioned hard, is it? Right, I just wound all the bolts in, just to make, because I've seen some of these like different lengths and whatnot, so I just wanted to make sure it wasn't going to bottom out on anything, which it doesn't. So they're okay. We can use them for mock-up, and the disc is actually fine. It's just grubby. So in the final build we'll be getting another one. That bearing don't feel too bad. That one feels horrible. They're all coming out anyway. Right, let's it all needs a damn good clean as well. So, yeah. That might feel all right, but it don't look all right at all. That's horrible. Right. Alright, I think I'm gonna, this one looks manky as hell, so I'm gonna try knocking the other one out first, and we'll see how we go. Right. Right, that's one side. Normally I have like a little notch in the centre tube so you can get in there and drift it out. Nasty. Right, other side. This will be easier because I can get to it, but it just looks ropey as hell. I got this bit of wood from outside. There is the biggest bloody spider ever just crawled out of it. I don't like spiders. Right, this bit is proving to be a bloody nightmare. Well, it's not a nightmare. The sound might have gone a little bit odd earlier on, and even though I've got a nice new microphone and I've been using it, I didn't charge it up, so the battery went dead and it all went to pot just a little bit. Anyway, as you can see, I've got the bike just sitting on its rims lightly. It is supported by the jack. It is tied down so it ain't going anywhere, and I'm just trying to sort these spaces out. So I've got a stack of washers there between the hub and the caliper carrier. And I've got a similar sort of thing going on this side, as you can see. And what I'm trying to do is to get this chain run absolutely cock on. I've tried various things like getting a straight edge on it and all that other sort of stuff. Everything's loose at the minute, so it's over to the right just a tad, as you can see. But by shoving an extra 2mm spacer in there, which wasn't one of these washers because they're 2.8, basically it moves it over and it gets that chain run basically where it needs to be. So the idea is I'm going to machine up a couple of spaces on Chuck Norris just by measuring these stacks of washers. Then we're going to shove it all back together again, see where we land, and if I need to take a little bit more off or make one a little bit bigger or whatever. And then once we've got that done and the back will set pretty much where I think it needs to be, we'll stick some clamps on it and measure the front wheel and see where we go from there. But it's just fiddly as hell trying to get these washers in over an axle and the wheel in the right place so the pin goes all the way through it, and then getting those on was just a nightmare. Anyway, right, let's make some spaces. Right, so I just knocked the oil seals in. These little spaces that I've made, I mean, there's nothing special to them. It's just, you know, bit of alley and whatever. But I'm hoping, what side's that? These should be captive. Well, he's not coming out. I made it a real snug fit for the oil seals. You know, the dust seals rather. Just that way you're not cocking about trying to get spaces in and everything else. They're just all held in place. Right, so he's in. They're all bottomed out, which is cool. Right then, so we can shove this back in, get things lined up. Happy days. Right, so back wheel is in. It sounds a bit graunchy at the minute because I haven't put the chain slider on the front of the swing arm. It all rotates quite happily. However, if I do the calipers up, then the inside shoulder of the caliper rubs on the inside of the disc and the wheel slows down quite a lot. That is okay, but I need to see, I either need to move the caliper carrier that way a bit, which would be easy enough, or I need to space the caliper out, which I don't really want to do because these bolts, I mean, they're sort of like halfway through the casting now, which I don't really like the idea of. Something else I found is that the torque arm ain't going to do the do. So if this goes on there, and then up to there, it is painfully close. Painfully close. Which way around do you go? That way. To the rim. And I just think by the time I get a tyre on there as well, that ain't going to do it. So I'm either going to need to make a new torque arm or get a 1200 torque arm. Because then it would, wouldn't it? I mean, it's all the same back end. So I might have a look and see what they go for. But I need to change this out a little bit. It's not going to affect the measuring because that's just location of the caliper. So let's do that first. Where are we? I need something just to put the rim on. What have I got? What have I got? You'd think I'd have another bit of wood like that, but I ain't. Right, so a little bit of time on the lathe later, and we've got a couple of spaces. I keep forgetting to deburr edges whilst it's still in chuck. I need to remember to do that. Right, so with a bit of luck, he's going to go in there like that. This fella will go in there like that. And that should put everything smack in the middle. Right, let's give that a go then. Right then. With a little bit of luck, this will fit. Oh, that is snug. That is very snug. Right. There we go. Right, that'll do. That looks alright. Oh, hello. That looks alright, doesn't it? It's just plain and simple, but it bungs up the holes, stops all the muck getting in there, and it puts the wheel in the middle. So happy days. Right. Shove these back on. Let's see where these land. I have got some new pads actually. Do I want to stick them in now? Nah. Alright, so these is just gently nipped up. Calipers all line up lovely. I think Wheezy's in. I think that's going to be all right. P-clip them up there, keep them out of the way. Job's a good one. I do quite like the spacers because it is just plain and simple. That suits me down to the ground. In other news, I have a rental rear sprocket. This is a 48 tooth one, same as what came off the Bandit 6. So I'll get that shoved on. I still need to make some proper axle plates on the back of this, but at least it's all spaced out properly, so I can now get those tyres on these rims and we can see what it's going to start looking like. That's cool. I need to get the rear tyre on especially because I don't think this torque arm's going to work. I don't think it's going to fit. Basically I don't think it's going to get around the tyre. There is a tiny little kink to it, but not enough, I don't think. So we're probably going to be making ourselves another one of them. Well, that's easy enough. I might even just look and see if I can get one on eBay. But that's that. Sweet. Oh, look, it's all mucky. It needs another clean, doesn't it? People make spacers way more complicated than they need to be. There are different ways of doing it, but it all depends what you're doing. Here, essentially, I'm switching out the whole of the front end and the back end, and I didn't have any spacers at all to use as a reference, so it's all just had to be measured and whatnot. The good news is I will get some pictures and throw them up for you just so you can see, but starting at the back, the chain run is dead straight. I've had a straight edge on the rear sprocket and the front sprocket. That was all fine, there's no gaps there at all, sort of front and back of the sprockets, and once you've got the chain on, obviously you can follow it down the line, that's all fine as well. So I'm happy that's all good. We haven't got any hash marks on here, which is a bit annoying, but you know, there's ways around that. And the front, as long as you go by a known good reference, you know, it's just a case of measuring it. I probably didn't explain it very well, but essentially the steering stem goes straight down the middle of the frame and you want the crown of the tyre smack in line with it basically. So if you just measure the reference points off the sides of the bearing. If you're deleting anything from the sides, then you like I did with the Speedo drive, then you have to measure it and take up that gap. But then whatever's left over, you're just dividing it by 2 and sticking the same on either side. So that's all fine. I'm probably going to check it. I've got some bits of box section up there with a threaded bar that goes through, so I can clamp it onto the back wheel, run a length either side, and then measure the gap either side of the front wheel as well. That's not a bad way of doing it, but really you want bigger a box section than that, something that just ain't gonna move at all. But it's it's sorted. I quite like it just because it's it's not fussy, it's just a spacer and it's simple looking, so that's all good. Calipers all line up, and I've got some new brake pads there to go in, so that'll be fine. Still got all the system to bleed and blah blah blah. Also got a rear sprocket. This is the 48.2, so I'm keeping the gearing exactly the same as it was on the Bandit 600 because that worked fine, and I'm just going to run it stock because doing a back end swap, there's no point in changing gearing, it will just cock everything up. But yeah, so pretty much there's really not that much more to do. I am going to get the tyres thrown on it because I need to check this out. I don't think this torque arm is going to go around the rear tyre, so probably have to make another one of them or modify this one in some way or do something, I don't know, but that ain't going to be hard. And then really it's a case of machining stuff. So I've got the top yokes to do, I've got some headlamp mount clamps to do that's going to go on around the forks. I've got the axle plates which I need to machine up so I know it's all nice and square and they run true and take, these are just temporary but they look a bit clunky and stuff like that really. The mill is basically done. There is another video coming. Basically I've just got to move that motor up like a mil and a half, something like that, and then I need to install these. This is the last one. These are the linear scales for the DRO. So these need to be put onto the mill, hang up the display somewhere, and that is it. The mill is sorted. I can use it to start making stuff for this, which is cool. I'm desperately trying to whittle down the projects. I only want one project on the go, and somehow I ended up with 3 of them. So there's obviously jigs here. Then there was getting and restoring the mill, and then there's doing the front end and rear end swap on ASBO, just so I can get some decent suspension. Once this is done and dusted, I'm going to use it as my daily. And just get used to it and see what it can do and everything else. The mill's all done, so it's just Jixit, which is what I want to do. I want to crack on and get that finished. So that project's done and dusted and out of the way because it's taken way too long. Way too long. I will get some pictures of the front and back of this, the way it's spaced, just so you can see. It does the job, it's fine. It does need a clean. But I'll get to that in a bit. That's where I'm leaving it. Thank you ever so much for watching. Do hope you're well and staying safe, and we will see you on the next one. Laters!